Hi, it's the 9th of February and it's
16.
in the UK. Thank you, Mickey. And welcome to Geeks on Screens with Coffee. And today's guest is Blythe. I did get that right, didn't I? That is that
Yes,
the
you
correct
did.
Canadian pronunciation?
Well, it's an English name. So I think if anybody's going to get it right,
Oh, I'm going to get it
it should
wrong.
be you. Yeah.
Normally, I get it wrong. So, what are you drinking? Are you drinking coffee, tea?
A coffee.
Is that a prop or does it actually have liquid in?
No, it's got coffee in it.
Oh,
It's 11 a.m. here.
yeah.
So
You're allowed to. I mean, I drink coffee at. It's the 9th of February. Okay, now I'm echoing back on myself. Oh, sorry. What have I done?
don't be sorry. You sound fine to me.
There we go. Sorry. It's. You think I would know what we're doing by now, wouldn't you? This is
You've done a lot of these.
This is the 63rd episode. All right, we've got to get going. Right, clapperboard. Sorry, you can't see that. There we go.
No, I can't.
In fact, I've got to hit the main button so people can see. There we go. Right, clapperboard. And your name in lights, so to speak.
I can't see it.
You can't.
No.
All right. No. People are just going to have to wait. I thought I turned off the background effects on. I didn't hit apply. There we go. Was it zoomed in properly?
Oh, there we go. Well, aw.
Is it backwards or is it the right way around?
It's adorable. No, it's perfect.
All right.
I love it.
Well, it's the expansive IT budget that I have.
I love it.
And the special effects department spend seconds doing that.
Do you have kids? Is that a?
I do have kids, but what would be they could not be asked to do it. I think I spend the time putting the letters on. They're too they're too old and and I'm too boring for them, unfortunately.
Oh, well, fair enough. Fair enough. My kids would love those magnets. They would love them.
Well, I think mine are 14. Abby's just turned 14 a couple of days ago, and 11, and so
wow.
I'm just old and uncool for her.
Yeah.
I
remember those days.
Whenever I walk in the room, her eyes just roll like even before I've said anything stupid. It's I've said something. So how are you?
I'm so good.
We're not here talking about me. We're talking about you. So let's see if anyone. Oh look, sorry, Jeremy Isaac loves pizza, and it is National Pizza Day. That's why there is pizza in the background.
So what's your favorite pizza? Like what? If you could have any pizza, what would it be?
I don't really. Oh, do you know what I haven't had in a very long time is, and it's not good for you, is Pizza Hut do a really greasy base. But normally a really thin base, a proper, but obviously with vegan cheese and vegetables on it. Jackfruit is quite good on a pizza.
Are you trolling me? Like, are you serious?
No.
Jackfruit.
Yeah.
Oh, the shredded stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I thought when you said that? I don't know why, but I thought durian. Have you ever seen?
Oh no! What, the stuff that smells like a toilet?
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah. I mean, I like my food to smell of sewage. Who doesn't?
So when I was traveling around Southeast Asia, they have signs in certain places, and the signs are like, "No durians allowed." No durians allowed.
Okay.
You cannot have this particular fruit in this area because it smells like garbage.
So I am just going to admire your outfit. 'Cause
Oh,
you're
well,
looking
thank
rather
you.
dapper.
Well, thank you. So are you, my friend.
Well, this I was attempting to make season 4 a bit more classy. Does that make enslaving kids is frowned upon? So someone's just put in the chat window. Yes, it is, but we still do it in the UK. It's frowned upon, but not technically illegal.
Wait, what isn't illegal? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Enslaving your children. Using them to do work and jobs around the house without paying them.
Yeah.
It's frowned upon, but not illegal.
Okay.
I mean,
Interesting
I mean, they're
perspective.
they're too big to go up the chimney anymore, but they can do things like they've still got small hands, so they can still do delicate work like sewing. But they're not strong enough. So for example, it snowed. They're not really strong enough to clear the driveway.
Fair enough. You just need a really big snowblower. And you just stand at your front door. A flamethrower. You can flamethrow your snow away.
You could do.
Let's talk about that.
You might say that's. So I went round a friend's house and they had a barn, and where his band practice, and they had this. It was like a jet engine. It was powered off gas, and you sort of lit it, and it sort of heated the room. But it was like a big, it was round like a jet, and the heat came out sideways, so you could just have one of those, heating your drive.
Seriously, and now you can have heated driveways where the heat is underneath the driveway. You just never even have to see it.
I mean, is that just crazy? A heated driveway? I mean,
it's insane.
What is the point?
Well, you don't have to clear your driveway.
Is that a Canadian thing? Because you're in Vancouver. Well, I imagine
I'm in Vancouver.
It's colder. It's cold there, and you have more snow.
It's like Seattle here, but I grew up in the north in a town called Edmonton, which is about the same latitude as Moscow. It's a northern city, and so people with wealth, they have heated driveways, which is silly because they park their cars in the garage. I don't know. Winter cities are really cool. They're like, the downtown core, you can get to every building through pedways, so they're all connected over.
Okay.
Right? And then all of the garages, there's tons of parking underneath the earth, and you can get to all the parking lots from other parking lots. So you can really navigate parts of the entire city all inside. The university is like that as well. And so all of the buildings are connected, because when it's minus 30 degrees Celsius, like it is right now in Edmonton, you just functionally can't go outside. Even if you're dressed well, it's not.
Minus 30 Fahrenheit or minus 30 centigrade?
Celsius.
Oh,
well, and that's when that I think it's like minus 30 something when the two temperatures come together and they're the same, right? Yeah. I got out of that town real quick. I was like, nope.
That is cold. I mean, that's kind of, you wouldn't urinate outside in that coldness. I mean, not that I would.
That's like where you can throw a cup of tea in the air and it turns into snow and then falls to the ground. Yeah.
That's terrible. So can you showed me the back of that dress, because that's not just a normal dress, is it?
No, this is my wedding dress. Because Mark, I figured I'm on month 11 of lockdown / pandemic. And if we're going to dress up, I'm going to do it. I'm going to dress up.
I feel I've let you down. I feel I need to be wearing a hat or something.
Or a jacket.
A jacket. I do.
Well, you said let's dress up, and I ran and I threw on my wedding dress. You want to see the back?
Yeah, of course.
It's bustly. it has a little train at the bottom. I wore a red dress because why not? And yeah, so now I'm on a geeky interview for my wedding.
I bet you didn't imagine. I mean, didn't imagine you were going to be doing this.
I went downstairs to put it on, and my nanny's downstairs with my two girls, and there was a lot of clapping and screaming and a lot of excitement. My two toddler little girls.
So how old
see
are
me
they?
at my wedding.
What the
2 and 4.
Oh, I mean, they're uber cute at that age.
Yeah, they're sure something. Again, month 11 of the pandemic. I don't know how cute they are right now, but
that they are. I was moving a load of photos and video files up off one of the machines here that I have. I built a little server so I could store all the pictures on it, but we never looked at it because I never turned it on. And then we moved them off, and the girls, their vocal range has dropped, so their pitch has dropped. And when you hear them when they're like 2 and 4, they sound completely different.
well, of course, yeah.
Well, I'm a man. I don't think about these things. Don't everyone sounds the same with their own people don't change.
No.
But
How fast has it been? So, like, do you look at them and now that they're 14 and 11, and it's just like you can't even believe the time that's passed?
Oh yeah. And I look back at some of it and go, oh, look at that. I forgot about that, and I forgot about that, and there's so many stuff you forget about, and then I mean, there was one video that I completely forgot I'd taken. They were singing in a room, and I wasn't in the room, so I videoed and walked into the room, and there's one of them singing, the other one's drawing, and then they're going, "Go away, daddy, go away, daddy," and it's just so cute that you just forget. So it's really bizarre. So it's quite good videoing stuff rather than just having pictures. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about Star Trek, and no, we're here to talk about you.
Star Trek. I'm a big Star Trek fan. We're not here to talk about me. Aren't we here just to talk?
We are.
We can talk about me.
But I know about me. I don't know about you. So I know you work for a company. So I mean, I wasn't stalking, but I know that you work for Paper Sword, or you actually own Paper Sword. It's your company, isn't it?
I do. Well, and you know what's crazy? We were just talking about kids and how fast it goes. So I started Paper Sword right before I had my first baby. So Renata was she might have even been like 2 months old or something like that. It was around that time. Paper Sword just turned 5. And so my entire life, professionally and personally, has really changed as a result of having kids and having a family and all of the needs of that. Like adding another full-time job onto being an entrepreneur and starting this business. It's been this crazy ride. I can't even believe it's been 5 years. And so before that, let's see. So started Paper Sword, had the first baby, and then have been building that. Both of those things, had another baby in there somewhere. And then before that, I was the marketing director for SolidQ. And then before that, I was a consultant doing public relations for data platform communities and in kind of the tech space. And then before that, I worked at Pass. So Pass was really my first, it was like when I dipped my toe into the SQL Server world. That was back when I was like still spelling SQL, SEQUEL server.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The way it's supposed to be spelled. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know anything. Yeah. So I'm just kind of from that jumping off point that was Pass, I just fell in love with SQL Server, discovered this whole world of data platform and analytics and data warehousing and data quality, and then got into like IT management pieces, and I've been telling those stories ever since. Really, that's my whole world. Well, and these kids take up a lot of space. So
I mean, it is mad starting a company and having tiny children because they all eat time.
And it's not it is the time. It's more like the energy and the space that, like, when you're starting a business, you have to have so much like space in your brain to solve all of these very complex problems, and problems that not only affect you, but they affect everybody who works for you, and whether they're going to be able to pay their mortgages and support their kids. And so there's a level of pressure and creativity, and all of these things kind of come together, and you need space for that. And so, and then kids are like creativity and space sucking machines, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, that's what they're there for.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I mean, I remember when they were born. You know, Tabby was born, and I remember someone just going, I was just a bit of a zombie. I'd turn up at work and I'd have just dirty trousers because they would just put their, breakfast, they would put their filthy mitts on me, and I just go, I'd just turn up to work. It was, I wasn't going to change clothes because of a bit of food. And that went on for a little while. It's just like, no, work's not isn't that important. It's staying up late. It's all the other things that happen that you forget about afterwards. But
I know, and you think it wasn't so bad, but
yeah,
it was.
oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
well, that's why people have more children because they forget about the
right.
things from the first ones.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I just, I learned before I had my first, I had an opportunity to have a sit down with a board member of one of the organizations I was working with. I didn't know many women. I still don't know many women who do what I do. And so it was such a treat to sit down with her and just kind of talk about careers back when I was pregnant, just starting to think about running my own business. And she said, she basically told me that I'm going to need help if I really want to be the kind of entrepreneur that I want to be. I'm going to need help with the kids, and that means that I'm going to be broke because it'll be expensive. And so I really internalized that, and as soon as we could, we hired a nanny, and we were broke. It's expensive to support another person who's completely non-billable for my consultants out there. Um, but with that, it gave me the space, right? My house was clean when I was done work. Dinner was on the table. All I had to do was spend time with my girls before work and after work. And then my husband went to part-time and just handled everything else. And it was hard, but we did it. We did it. Like, I really feel like we've got a cadence down now, and they're a little bit older. Renata will be in kindergarten next year, so we're kind of over that all-consuming hump. The hump with children, where it's just like you're in that and you can't think of anything else. We're starting to like feel the pressure release a little.
So how are you finding that then in lockdown? I mean, I don't know what is lockdown like for you guys at the moment. Or do you have one? Are you?
Yeah, yeah. So we've only vaccinated like 1.3% of our population. So our vaccines are really going to start showing up in March. That's what they keep telling us. So we are not allowed to socialize with anyone outside of our immediate family bubble.
Right.
So just the people you live with. Um, Single folks can have up to like two people. And so my best girlfriend is single. And so she is in our bubble. And my nanny, because this is her place of work, is in our bubble. And my nanny's like 4 years younger than me, and we're really good friends. And so when I need to, I can escape to my friend's house, which, oh my goodness, thank God. But yeah, I mean, we don't go, like everything, the pools are closed, the restaurants are open, but again, you can't go with anyone not in your bubble. So my husband and I have been able to get out once or twice, but that's kind of it.
Right.
There's nothing is open right now.
So we're slightly more locked down than you guys. Similar, but there's no restaurants. I mean, there's takeaway food, but that's about it. And it's your household. If you are single, then or you have care needs or whatever, you can have one other person, join up with another household for a bubble, but that's it. So it's
Are your
quite
like
limiting.
movie theaters closed and all your theaters closed?
Oh yeah. Everything is pretty much shut.
I'm sorry. That is.
But it's a long term, isn't it?
It's very hard.
It's
hard.
to be on well. So for me, it's been all right. It's not been the end of the world. I mean, I've had to stop traveling for work because I would never really be at home. For my children, for the girls, it's been hard on them because they can't go and see their friends, and it's just not the same on Skype and on social media, on the TikToks and the
TikToks.
And the MySpaces and the Bebo and whatever the kids use, the Instagrams.
Whatever those kids are using these days.
Well, I'm of a certain age that you just go, if it's technology, to add an S on the end. So the Facebooks, computers, it's I can legitimately do that now, and it entertains me.
Mark, what kind of work do you do? I mean, this is the first time we're meeting.
Oh.
So what, are you a DBA? Tell me about.
When I say I was a DBA.
Where you come from and what you do.
I haven't touched a proper database in quite a while. All I do is talk to customers and help them with their problems. So
you work for a consulting company?
I work for the Microsofts.
So you work for Microsoft?
Yeah. And so I
did not know that.
An architect, fancy architect. It's a nice title. And I deal with data warehouses. So anyone doing stuff with Azure SQL Data Warehouse or Synapse, as it's now called, or Synapse, dedicated SQL pools. Let's get the proper marketing term out there. Can we
talk about Microsoft marketing?
We can do, yeah. Of course we can.
What? What are they thinking? Oh.
I'm not sure how much I can say legitimately without getting into serious trouble. But should we say it's been challenging?
Yeah, because the other day I was, I had to write some content on Azure Arc. And so I'm on Microsoft's website. It's a natural place to start, right? When you want to learn about a new technology, you go to the website of the place that then makes that technology. And it was so heavily marketing, it was like heavy on marketing, Microsoft marketing buzzwords, or the word soup, as I like to call it, that I couldn't really extract any meaning out of it. And so I tweeted, and luckily JR had some good summaries for me, just to kind of put it in context inside the data platform for me, because I hadn't, some things can pop up inside of the Microsoft data platform. They can be around for a couple of years and maybe I don't touch them in whatever work I'm doing. And so I'm almost like missing a piece until I have to write about it. And then the puzzle starts to come together for me.
Who's JR?
He works for Microsoft. And now I'm blanking on his last name.
JRJ or JR? I don't know who JR is.
Hold on.
That's right. So
I told him he should go into marketing.
So what's your take on Purview then?
JRJ. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, yeah.
Why don't you tell me your take on Purview, Mr. Microsoft?
It's our data catalog and data lineage tool.
And
it's lovely. It's in
And
beta. It's
I
in
noticed
public
that you
beta.
like got the glassy eye look. You're like, and
And
it's lovely. It's the best data lineage tool out there.
don't don't
Love
don't
Microsoft.
don't ask me questions. I don't I don't. You're being mean. Don't be mean. Because it's so new, I've barely touched it. I'm a simple man, and I like names that describe what things do. So Purview is a bit conceptual I mean, Azure was bad enough, but kind of we've got there. Things like I don't get on with Google. Ask Jeeves. That's telling me something.
Mm.
The search you were
Google
no
made up their own word though.
yeah
Their
yes
own
yeah
verb.
well, and
Right.
it's a bit like Bing.
Oh God.
You know what Bing stands for, don't you?
What?
Do you not? Bing is not Google.
No, it doesn't.
I thought that's what it stood for.
You can't have an acronym where the word is the first word in the acronym.
Oh,
Is
you
that
are
allowed? Can you do
you
that?
yeah, you are so young. There was a on
Yeah, I am.
if previously, when computers were sort of mainframes, there was a on early Unix, not even Linux. There was an email editor called Elm, Electronic Mail or something, and then a new one came out that was called Pine, and it stood for Pine is not Elm. So IT people have been doing it for years.
Okay, well, I don't know.
I thought that's what it stood for.
The more, so the better I get at product marketing, because I have a PR background and I have been trained in product marketing, and now I've really moved into storytelling and brand. And so I tend to straddle the line between product marketing and brand. And that's just kind of the strategic role I play on my team. And I'm trained in a framework called the Pragmatic Marketing Framework. It's all about product marketing. And the more I learn about it, the more I realize they don't know. Like they have no idea. They name these they name these things. Then you test it in a market, you do some competitive analysis and some mapping. Um, you put it in beta, and then you see how the market reacts to it. I think I I don't know. I think all of their fancy MBAs, they're like marketing MBAs, they need to just be better at teaching this stuff because they're they're not putting out the platforms and like the product marketing internal to the data platform in a way that makes sense for the people who are using them. And so it tells me that there's a breakdown between the folks creating the technology and those people who are naming it and pushing it out. And you see it a lot in at the actual conferences, because Microsoft marketing, when you go to Ignite, right? They really dictate what those sessions are, what people are consuming, right? And so you get a lot of cloud-based and quantum computing, AI, all of these like really incredible things you can do with technology, but it's not necessarily meeting the market where it is, right? A lot of companies are still on-prem. They're still running these multi-cloud hybrid solutions, and you're trying to talk to them about quantum computing, and there's a mismatch. And I mean, I hate to say it, but that's where really the community, like a community of people and a community event and like a community event series fills in those gaps, right?
Yeah.
Because they're more reflective, the content's more reflective of what the market is experiencing instead of 5 years ahead, like the Microsoft conferences. And so as a marketing person, I prefer to be like closer to the community. And so I get confused. I'm like, what are you talking about again, Microsoft? What purview?
There's
Okay.
I don't know anything about the marketing side of who works on that, but I can see they're trying to sell a vision of this is where stuff is, and where this is where you want to be, and this is the
Mhm.
ideal. And then when you come along and you're actually implementing it, people's perception of it isn't necessarily quite the same as what you're going in to talk to them about.
Mhm.
And that's where the community sessions are very good with, oh, I've used it and I found these problems with it. All these limitations were there. And kind of it sort of beats through all that sort of Microsoft marketing stuff, which is great, and it does a great job at what it does. I just don't know it whether is it just, do you think that it's just aimed at the C level, so the kind of, this very senior management, the CEOs, CTOs, and that's what they're aiming at, but actually we want to look at stuff for the kind of the people on the ground, doing stuff with it level?
I don't think so. I think Ignite and Microsoft Build, those conferences are aimed at technologists, developers. They're just the sysadmins that are moving their workloads to the cloud, or they're trying to convince that it's so easy to manage and monitor in Azure. But it's like, okay, but that's not my reality.
Well, if you're looking
I
at
don't know.
Arc, I mean, that is what you're supposed to be.
Yes.
That's the dream. I've not used it and I've not seen it. So one of the things that I do try and do is not try and talk about stuff I know nothing about, because I'm gonna fall flat on my face if I've heard the term, um, uh, you know, and I think that when things are in beta, there's something that Microsoft used to do, and we used to get a lot of flack for, was producing a product, putting it out there, and no one would use it because it was V1. And then they would take a long time, produce V1, and then they would produce service packs. And the old line
Yeah.
was, you should never use a Microsoft product without Service Pack 1 because it was so buggy. And so
Mm.
now it's very much, most of the teams working in an MVP way, they produce something, get it out there, see what the feedback is. And maybe it's just marketing and that sort of development cycle don't fit together yet. Because once you market something, you've set it in stone, haven't you? It's very hard to
Yeah.
change that.
Hmm.
As where if you're you're developing it, you're constantly changing it every week and every month, it might change into something new that you didn't
Right.
originally market it at 6 months ago. I mean, I don't know. It's very hard to know. He said, try not to dig a hole for himself and get into trouble
Yeah,
with
I'm just
anyone
like
at
sitting
work.
back, letting you talk around in circles.
It's very mean of you. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, Go
So
ahead.
how did you get started in marketing? Was it just something you did at university when you first went to work for Pars, or was it something coming out of college, something you're
Yeah,
interested
so
in, or
I'm
was it?
I'm PR trained. I've been a writer my whole life. I've always known that I wanted to write. So I it's like my superpower. It's my love language. It's really how I express myself. So I knew that I wanted to do it for a living. Um, so I'm PR trained. So I'm trained in communications. I did that in university, and got into community relations. So social media, because I'm a millennial, and in truly, I mean, and so in 2007, 2008, when I was coming really, really catching my stride in the workforce, it was like, give the millennial the Twitters. So I ran Pass's social media strategy and then their chapter initiatives, then eventually brought on SQL Saturday from Andy Warren and Brian Knight and Steve Jones. It was just such an honor and a privilege to work on that project. That was really cool. And I worked on that right before I left. And so it wasn't, I did PR as a consultant, and it wasn't until probably 2013, 2014 when I really got into marketing. I learned about message structure, and the product piece of it was really interesting. And how do you, it's one thing to build something. It is a whole other ball game to take it to market, to put a wrapper on it. And the communication strategy is really only one component of a product launch, because what you call it and how you message it, how you position it it's just such a huge exercise. And it's a lot of where this community struggles, right? Our clients build these like incredible things. And then it's like, well, how do we communicate it? How do we communicate the need and tell the story around it? And so that's what I do, really.
So I'm terrible at that. So as you could probably tell from Geeks on Screens with Coffee, you're probably looking at it going, why did he pick that name? I mean, it's
I finished my.
Why would you do such a horrible thing to yourself? Pick something short, snappy. And
I like it.
Well, I worked on with Victoria Holt and another guy, Richard Munn, on Data Toboggan, and I came up with some ideas and some other things we should do and change. And I just said to them, look, these are ideas. They're not good. I might come up with one good idea a year. No, I'll credit myself with one good idea. But other than that, my ideas are generally not good, because I'll get obsessed or stuck on a single idea or a joke, and then I'll just focus on that. And it's very hard. The problem is I don't have that skill, and so I don't have these other skills. I have certain skills, in a Liam Neeson way. I have a certain set of skills, and I use those skills to earn money, and not kill people. Too. But and the community is very good at giving stuff away, but you can't go up to a marketing person and go, please market my website for me, please market this for me, because you're asking them to work for you.
Yeah.
It's so. I mean, while I've got you, how would you make this better? How would you make Geeks
on Screens?
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes of your free advice.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll get on to the serious, heavy stuff.
So let me ask you, why are you doing this? What's the point of it? What do you want to achieve with it? And then I'll tell you how to make it better.
It was a way of me communicating with people, seeing a need that people don't communicate, and it seemed like a really good thing for mental health, but to be just to talk to people in a one-on-one way, in a long form, rather than in meetings which are very short. They're very focused on work but not on people, and it's a good way to find stuff out about people.
Yeah. So is the point of this to kind of showcase more higher profile folks in the community, or like, how do you choose people?
So originally it was people I like. Don't mean I don't like you, but then I thought, well, what I do, if people nominate people, then I will talk to other interesting people, and it will save me the effort of having to reach out to people and looking like, some sort of desperate creep, because my circle of influences is big, but actually I want to talk to people out here, and I want to talk to people that I wouldn't normally talk to, because we wouldn't normally talk to each other, even if we were at a conference, unless we had the same sort of group of friends or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
You wouldn't go and meet. And there's a few other people that I've spoken to that we just wouldn't have had. But I've had my friends on. So I don't. What's a good thing? I don't fear failure. So I'm not trying to reach out to millions of people. This is fun for me, and I think that's probably
having an entire conversation around marketing may not be the perfect place for you, because you're not. I don't see the goals that you have aligning to a marketing exercise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So one of the things that I like that this does is I get to talk to people about what they're interested in. So Christina, we were talking about sailing for the entire episode, and other people we talked about tech, and other things we just talked about other random things. And last week, talking to Grant, I found out about his history in the film industry, and he used to work, doing all sorts of things, being an electrician, doing all sorts of jobs on film sets, and being an extra in films. And I found that there's stuff that you wouldn't normally find out about people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm not. So, and obviously I'm practicing interviewing skills, but obviously I'm talking too much. See, that's what I'm trying not to do. So,
well, yeah, if you want to make it more of a thing, we can have an offline conversation, but it definitely needs more depth for me to be able to advise you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. It's a bit cheeky trying to just ask for something, but forcing someone to do something, just give me some advice right now. But
make this thing big. I'm like, what do you want to do with it? Well, I don't know. Okay.
Yes. The problem is I don't really know. But most importantly, and I forgot to ask this question of Grant, I've asked everybody else. What is your favorite cheese?
Cheese. Ooh. I think I like a really, really good Parmesan.
Wouldn't you normally have that on something? Or would you have that on its own? Isn't Parmesan hard?
Yeah, I like hard cheeses.
Okay. What, on a cracker or something?
Sure. Yeah, or just on a plate with a bunch of other nibbly things to put with it, like tomatoes or cucumbers or like little meats, little charcuterie board.
Okay. See, people have different answers. Right. So, Star Trek.
What's your favorite cheese? Hold on.
My favorite cheese? I don't really have a favorite cheese, and because there aren't very good vegan cheeses.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's like eating soap.
Mm-hmm.
So, Star Trek.
Yes.
I watched a mini documentary on Wrath of Khan.
Oh, did you?
Yes. And it wasn't in preparation. It just happened to be on, but I thought I would watch it anyway. Because that was one of my favourite Star Treks. But you...
Oh, so good.
But, all right. So what did you... Are you a series person? As in, the Voyager... What was the one that was the most recent one?
Discovery?
Discovery, yes.
So I wasn't a huge fan of... So I guess I would be a series person. I like TNG, of course, the best, because it's the best. And then probably Deep Space Nine. Voyager was okay. The problem was that they didn't really have a big enough budget to make it interesting. It was so campy that it kind of lost some of its... What was the one with Scott Bakula? I also didn't really watch that one.
I never watched any of those.
Yeah.
Because if he's not jumping into someone else's body and saying, oh no, or oh boy, then I don't want to see him. Sorry, that's a Quantum Leap reference.
Oh, I loved that show.
I never got to the end of Quantum Leap.
I did.
Oh, did you? You watched the end episode where he could have jumped He could have jumped into his own body at any time.
Did I? Oh my gosh, it was so long ago.
It was, yeah. It was. Do you know, I didn't check. Have you got a time where we have to finish?
I just sent him a message that I can be a couple minutes late.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, you do need to. Sorry.
5 more minutes.
Five more minutes. Yeah, 5 more minutes. Perfect. 5 more minutes. So, 2 questions. One question is who you would nominate to be in the same seat as you're in now, to be talked to or at by me. But while you're thinking about that, the emergency question book.
Okay.
1001 questions in here. to help conversations go along. And then you pick a number between 1 and 1001, and as long as it's not rude, I'll read you the question.
568.
Any reason why 568?
No, just kind of came to me. I have a good feeling.
Oh, okay. I'm very tempted to go, no, that's too rude, and then 568. Okay, you don't have to answer this question, but I'm going to read it out anyway. What swear word would you like repeatedly shouted by a drunk man at your funeral? And the drunk man is turning up regardless to shout something. Anyway, so
what swear word would I have continually
shouted out at your funeral by a drunk man? Now, you don't have to answer that question, but I thought it was quite an interesting question.
So I am a big fan of Anchorman. I like a good Anchorman. Have you seen it? Please, oh my God.
I'm aware of Ron Burgundy.
So good. So I think I would have something from Anchorman, just something iconic, right? Where that would make people giggle. So if like Dirty Pirate Hooker, like your Dirty Pirate Hooker was screamed over and over and over again. Not necessarily a swear, but hilarious. I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, I could see that.
And it would have to be like, I have a very good friend and we bonded over that. And so it would I would request that he would be the super drunk dude yelling that.
Would you like it shouted out randomly in a Tourette style way, or just constantly shouted out?
Yeah, maybe like a chant, you know? and then the rest of the entire congregation can join in, but like a round, right? So then it becomes a little bit of a drinking song.
Oh, perfect. All right. Mm-hmm. So we'll get back to the final question. So we can take this offline if you'd like, but if there's someone you think you would like to, for good reasons or bad reasons, put in your seat at the moment, who would it be?
I'm going to go with Vicky Harp, if you haven't asked her already.
No, I think I might have asked, but I don't think she's replied because she probably thinks I'm some sort of crazy stalker. But if you could help with introductions, then...
What about... Or Andy Mallon would be another really, really great addition.
Andy Mallon. I don't know who he is, but I'm trying to get a good balance of male and female guests because, because we need that balance because there isn't really a good balance out there at the moment. And
well, Andy Mallon is a champion of diversity and inclusion in our community. And so he'd be a great person to talk to even about that. So I run Group Buy with a group of folks, and he helped us write our diversity and inclusion policy. And then he also spoke at the last Group Buy. He did a inclusion keynote, and so he's got a lot of really great feedback about that specific thing. Just in case if you wanted to have a conversation around that. And then Vicky did another keynote for us, and she's got just incredible insight into the SQL community and what it can be. And I really appreciate the way she sees the world. And so those two are just really great resources.
What it can be. That's interesting.
Yeah. Like, what is this? It's a great opportunity right now for us in our community because we get to really decide. We don't have past stewarding the direction anymore. And so we can be intentional with what the next step is. And I find that really empowering. I like that.
Yeah. I know you've got to go. I'm sorry. But that might just be US thing because in the UK we never really had that much presence of pass.
You're right.
So we sort of did our own thing.
Yeah.
And we did try and jump on the pass bandwagon. I think, but probably not successfully.
That is true. You've got such like strong event models that are weaved through the community in the UK. So there's a lot of opportunity to network and connect, which is really the most important piece, I think. And that's over and above any of the past infrastructure that was built. So yeah. I get that.
And some horrible divas. Yep, horrible divas who run events. Yeah. All right.
Well, we won't get into that. Let's not get into that. But thank you so much for your time, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.